Well, here we are, back at the boiler. Yeah, gonna take a look at this damper thingy, the solenoid thingy, and even, you see it over there? Cover thingy. It's kind of all coming together and making some kind of sense. I'll kind of show you what the few things I've discovered. Okay, I came out this morning, and yes, the damper was closed, even though the solenoid was in the open position, just like that. So I came and I popped that clean. I popped it open. Let's go back to yesterday morning when the same thing happened, and I'll show you. And sure enough, the solenoid is energized into the open position, but the door is stuck again, and the spring is not strong enough to release it. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. Why? I mean, it was working this morning. It worked last night up until this morning. This morning it was running fine, cycled a couple times, and now it's stuck again. It's relatively clean. So if I just tap on this, there, it's unstuck. And obviously the spring is now pulled it up. No problem, it doesn't stick anymore. I have no idea. It's relatively clean. I cleaned it. Yeah. No clue. The boiler was down to, brutal. It was down to like 115 or something like that. Okay, I was checking for creosote under here. Ran my finger underneath here and here and here. And was it covered in creosote? No. But it was covered in water. So there was water condensating on the underside of this damper door. And I believe when the water on the outside here, I believe that this door is freezing to the opening. So why? Because the moisture is getting up there. The door is quite warm. You can only hold your hand on there for a sec, not even a second. The door right now in that open position is cold. It's cold in my hand. It is not warm at all. It is cold, and that's cold metal. I have had this off for a week, the cover, thinking, okay, it's just a decorative cover or whatever. I'm now starting to think that that cover is actually holding some of this internal heat in, which will help this and prevent this from freezing. So there's no creosote inside here at all. Everything was all free and floppy. One comment was, and I'm quite understand what they're getting at, but I haven't found a good written description of what this spring, how this spring is supposed to work, or what the function of it is, as opposed to some of them just don't have a spring at all. It's a solid piece. Anyway, I have it set for full travel of the door. So even though the spring is there, there's actually the solenoid is not pulling up on the door at all. It's only pulling on the spring. So the door would have to go up that, or the solenoid would have to go up another, 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch to actually pull up on the door. So I'm going to move the solenoid up a notch or two and try that, so that when the solenoid goes fully up, it doesn't rely on the spring to pop the door. It'll actually pull against the solenoid, which is this outer part. It will pull up on this tangs of the part that's attached to the door and break it loose. So it'll only pull it up about, you know, maybe 1/8 of an inch. I'll have it maybe set for 1/8 of an inch, and then once it's popped free, then the spring will just pop it into a fully open position. So that's the plan. Do that, put the cover back on. I do have also another suggestion. Was never sees nuclear grade. So I will be putting a little bit of that on the door seal to see whether that will keep some of the water away from it and stop it from freezing. So that's the plan. Let's put her back together. Okay, so I've now mounted the solenoid in the upper hole, set of 4 holes there. So the screws are in the upper hole. And that, you're still down at the bottom. There's still movement down here. Floppiness, so it's not preventing it, hasn't gone so high that it's preventing the door from fully closing when the solenoid is at the bottom in the closed position. It de-energized. So you wouldn't want this so high that even though it's fully extended, the door wouldn't close. So we have to make sure that the door is closed, fully closed, and the mechanism is all loose. There's no strain, and you can actually see I can go up and down on the armature there a little bit, which means the door isn't being held open at all. It is fully closed. Now, when you energize, this is going to suck in. And the trick now, and I'll just energize it, turning on. Clunk. Okay. So now it's fully energized. Fully energized open. The damper door is fully open. But by moving it up, what happens now is it's open by about 1/8 of an inch, the damper door. Damper actuator is in the open position or energized position. It's pulling this outer shell up, and the tangs will be touching on the bottom here and lifting it up and not relying on just the spring pressure. So you can see as I pull that down, it wants to. Okay? I think you get the idea. So, okay, so as you can see, I've now applied Never Sees on the opening and on the underside of the door. So we're all good. Should stop that from freezing up. And yeah, let's keep burning wood.